Welcome back. Hopefully you've had a chance to watch the 3 previous videos, the Start Here overview, the economy introduction, as well as part 1. If you haven't seen them yet, please take a minute to check them out. With that said, welcome to part 2 of 4 of the economy. In this video, we'll be focusing on another 3 areas of America's economy. We'll now look at state news, the local impact, and the U.S. economy. Let's jump right in with state news. I started with California, as it has the largest sub-economy in the U.S., and as a matter of fact, it's the 8th largest economy in the world. But a headline taken from Time CNN in July 2009 reads, "California's budget crisis. Is there a way out?" In simple terms, that means they couldn't pay the bills, and they were admitting to that almost 2 years ago. But is this just an isolated case? Let's find out. Let's move south to Arizona. An article from January 2010 in the azfamily.com proclaimed that the state sold 20 properties for $735 million. This included the state capitol building. This was a desperate move by the state of Arizona to raise much needed capital to pay its bills. That's just 2 states now in deep financial trouble. Are these just isolated cases? Let's see. 32 states now are officially bankrupt. It just gets better and better, doesn't it? The news article was taken from ZeroHedge.com in May 2010. $37.8 billion were borrowed from the U.S. Treasury. California is at the top of the list and is one of the worst states. And it is confirmation about California's financial cry for help way back in 2009. That might not sound like a lot of money to some of you, especially when the news agencies have been talking about budgets and debts in the trillions of dollars. But when you read the entire article, you'll see that this was just for unemployment benefits, and that this article focused only on those funds. You have to ask yourself, how much more is the U.S. government handing out to the states, and for what? How long can they keep doing it? And the final bit of state news comes from the New York Times in January 2011. The states are desperate to find a way to escape their debt, and since they can't file bankruptcy, policymakers in Washington are scrambling to find a way to make that happen. What this should tell everyone is that the states are insolvent already, and they want to find a legal way to tell everyone that they owe money to that they are not going to get paid. Of course, without repercussions. By the way, on a personal level, this includes eliminating pensions to retired state workers that have earned and contributed to those plans. With all that amazing news, I thought it would ease it up a bit and take a peek at the local level as to how our current economic crisis is impacting everyone at the grocery store. Mind you, this is just a micro sample of information, but you will see these kinds of effects more and more as 2011 progresses. The following price data was taken from a local Walmart in Georgia in February 2011. Avocados experienced a 44% increase. They moved up from 68 cents to 98 cents in just 2 weeks. Let's see the next example. Roma tomatoes saw a 300% increase in the same store, and the same location that went from 98 cents a pound to almost $3 a pound. So maybe you're thinking it was only a small sample of produce, and we did have a bad winter this year. Well, in the next video, we'll look at the staples that go into your favorite foods like bread and cereal when we discuss commodities, but for now, let's just move on. The U.S. economy, the American Spectator wrote in February 2010 that they expect to see a great recession in 2011-2012. My first thought after reading this title was, what is a great recession? Is that their way of saying the D word? I will, depression. Is that what they were thinking? Based on the news we've seen so far, they may not be wrong. Later in the year, in June 2010, the website Helium posted an article that a top economist predicts the collapse of the U.S. economy. That economist gained much attention after President Reagan adopted his economic model in order to turn the U.S. economy around in the 80s. Let's see what other news we can find about this. Long shadows cast over U.S. economy in 2011. Okay, this just went virtual printing presses in January 2011. But what is interesting is that this site is from the UK. So this is an external look at the U.S. Their opinion of our economic condition isn't any better. And now we are reading a quote from Mark Faber, a top economist, who by the way got his PhD at the age of 24 and graduated magna cum laude, has no doubt in his mind that the U.S. will go into hyperinflation. Do you think it's not as bad as it sounds? Don't be one of those people that ignore this information and fail to take it seriously until it's entirely too late. By the way, they have a name for that. It's called normalcy bias. I urge you not to get caught up thinking like this because it's an extreme mental state people enter when facing a disaster. It causes people to underestimate both the possibility of a disaster occurring and also its possible effects. That definition, by the way, was taken from Wikipedia. Keeping that in mind, there's good news on the horizon, and we'll get to that shortly. I just wanted to emphasize that this video is not about doom and gloom, and I want you to recognize what is really coming. You can't stop the fall of our economy, but there are steps you can take to protect you and your family from the oncoming disaster. People don't get out of their comfort zone and do something different unless they are absolutely convinced that something big is about to occur. That is what this training is all about. Remember, the good news is coming, and we've saved the best news for last. Just hang in there and watch this entire series. But before we get to the good news, let's continue with this video series and see other aspects of the economy by watching part 3 of 4, which starts with commodities.